It is Monday evening. I am tired. But talking to this guy, I'm super energized. What's up, Frank?
I'm still here.
Good, good, good. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank has requested that he has the first couple of minutes to expound on something. So, Frank, go ahead, dude. You got the floor. Take it.
What we
Take
were
it.
talking about at the end of the last clip was how every time somebody gets so popular, they wind up becoming heels because they want to protect John Cena. And WWE views John Cena as their prize jewel, and they will go to any length to protect him because, in the words of Vince McMahon, this man feeds us. So it's ridiculous to think that some fans are blind to this or they deny it, you know. And my thing is, why can't they just create the next John Cena or something better than Cena? Why? I don't understand why they hold on to John Cena so much. I mean, we said this time and time again. He must have blackmail on Vince McMahon or Stephanie.
He either walked into the room while Vince McMahon was fucking Stephanie in the ass, or he has some sort of magical powers or something that he could just
No, he doesn't have any
control them or something. Because I don't have the answer, Frank. And you want to know what the most frustrating part is for me? The most frustrating part is even when I point out 100% facts, people look at me like I'm fucking crazy. Like this guy, and then I have to get comments like, because I promised I'm not going to rant on him, and I'm not going to because he's not worth my energy. But when I got to get comments, troll or not, that he's greater than Randy Savage, a better in-ring technician than Kurt Angle, a better character than The Undertaker, had more impact on the business than The Rock, and is a better face of the company than Stone Cold Steve Austin, it makes me want to punch that person in the fucking face. Because how could you ever fucking say that and then look in the mirror at yourself and say, oh, I'm a fan of pro wrestling? Because to me, you basically just took your pro wrestling fan card and ripped it to shreds. Because, like, seriously, I'm a fan of baseball. Alright? I'm a fan of baseball. That's like someone trying to fucking tell me that A-Rod is better at hitting the ball than Pete Rose was. Now, don't get me wrong. Did Pete Rose break the rules? Yeah. He broke the rules betting on baseball. He wasn't fucking injecting himself with fucking steroids or some sort of performance-enhancing drug. His drug was gambling. A-Rod is a fucking cheat. And to compare a piece of shit like him to a guy like fucking Pete Rose, who's the fucking hit king, no one will ever reach what he fucking did when he went up to that fucking plate. But to turn around and say that he's greater just makes you look like a fucking idiot. It's like someone trying to tell me Mike Tyson was a better fighter than Muhammad Ali. Who did Tyson fucking fight? Who did he fight? Other than Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. Who did he fight?
Who's this you talking about?
Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, the comparison. There is no comparison. Fucking Muhammad Ali was fighting Ken Norton. He was fighting Joe Frazier. He was fighting George Foreman.
Well, just like John Cena for a while, it's not his fault. There was no other great guy except for Randy Orton was the closest guy. That's why they milked that match to death. For a while, I'd say from about 2009, 2008 to 2013, he was working alone. I mean, he had Jack Swagger, The Miz. I mean, in his defense, I got to defend him in that regard. For those few years, he wasn't working with a lot.
Yeah, but once you hit 2011 onward, there has been no excuse. Because in 2011, you got...
that's what once Punk became popular, and that's it. They should have took off with him. but instead they
No, but instead they had him in the middle of the card wrestling Daniel Bryan while John Laurinaitis was getting.
And that's why I don't understand. WWE is the first. Will be the first one to tell you that nobody's bigger than the company. And if you look at it historically, after every icon moved on, after Hogan, left, they got bigger. After Bret Hart left, they got bigger. After Austin left, they got bigger. They're the first ones to tell you that. So why can't history repeat itself? And after Cena leaves, or the Cena era is over, why can't WWE get better?
I'll tell you why, Frank. And it's something that nobody's got the balls to say. And they're the real marks, in my opinion. The ones that just lick their balls, accept everything as they are, and actually think that their opinion doesn't matter. And then they want everyone else to think their opinions don't matter. And they just want them to just sit there and shut up and be a zombie. The reason things are like that is because they've become complacent. The lack of competition is ultimately going to be the demise of this company. Because they can only be complacent for so long before people just look at the show and say, you know what? This shit ain't fun anymore. And honestly, what Frank mentioned at the top of the show is true. And that's one of the many reasons people like myself can't fucking stand him. Because you have talent like a CM Punk, who was the hottest commodity the business had seen in years. And what did you do? Yeah, you put the title on him for 434 days, but where did he spend the majority of that 434 days? Spent it in a fucking mid-card, while Cena was fighting Laurinaitis in the Big Show.
Yeah, why was Punk fighting Laurinaitis?
It's no different than Daniel Bryan. Bryan may have won the belts, but who the fuck was beating Bray Wyatt, who was being called the biggest bad guy in the company? It wasn't Bryan. No, he was fed Old Man Kane.
Oh, boy.
Fucking really.
Well, there's the Punk reign. There's Punk's reign. He should have been feuding with Laurinaitis, and Laurinaitis should have been doing everything he could to get rid of Punk.
Now, Frank, how long did it take you to come up with that story?
I did that off the top of my head. He's the one who should have got, instead of Cena fighting Brock, Punk should have fought Brock at the Extreme Rules in 2012.
Thank you. Can you imagine Brock's first pay-per-view and he fights Punk for the belt and beats him, and then Punk eventually...
He could have been down. Punk could have did something to beat him, just like Cena did, right?
But the difference is the fans wouldn't have shit on it.
No, it would have been a great match, and CM Punk would have did something. He would have pulled something out of the sleeve to beat Lesnar, like John Cena did, and the fans would have went crazy. And CM Punk would have went so over as champion because he just defeated Brock Lesnar, the Beast, and defended the title. But you see what I'm saying? That's not what the WWE wants.
No, that's not what they wanted. They didn't want him to get that popular. They didn't want him to become that big. They didn't want him to become that big of a star. Because they didn't fucking make him. And it pisses guys like us off.
And it pisses CM Punk off too. Why do you think he's so bitter?
He's bitter I'll tell you why the guy's bitter, because he knows he got fucked.
Why do you think he's bitter?
And you want to know what's funny? People turn around and call him a crybaby.
Why do you think he's bitter against the fans? Fans is because he knows what the truth that WWE.
He's bitter against a lot of. I'll tell you what he's bitter about. He's bitter at the company for fucking him over when he probably could have made them tons of money, made himself tons of more money, and he's bitter at a lot of the fans who just buy everything that they sell them.
Right. But I'm saying he's all these fans love him, but he knows in the back of his mind, like it almost turns him off because he knows they're buying a lie, like you said, that the WWE has no plans to him, and that's why he turned bitter.
I think it's a real shame because as much as I didn't like him personally, he was a damn good performer. Yeah,
he became a great performer at the end.
You know, I think it's a shame, you know, and I look back on Punk's, the last year and a half of Punk's year with them, all I remember are defeats. He lost to Lesnar, he lost to The Undertaker, he lost to The Rock, he lost to Triple H.
Yeah, he lost to everybody.
And that's the problem. You claim you want to build these guys up, but then you want them to lose to all the old timers. The only one that escaped that fucking hammer on the head was Bryan, because he beat
The other theory is that they're scared of building anything up because they're scared they're gonna leave.
Oh yeah, that theory has been out there for a while, that they're petrified to make anyone else a major star other than the one guy that they trust, because they look at Austin, they look at Rock, they look at Brett, they look at Hogan. They all eventually picked up and left.
Right. So they don't see this not going anywhere.
So rather than actually bettering your business, you're putting your ego first. What fucking sense does that make?
It does.
But we're the marks, Frank, that don't understand good business.
You know what it is? It's just like when you tell your old man owns a business and you're giving up new ideas and you're telling him, do this, times are changing, do that. And he's like, no, I just like the way I am. I want to stay where I am. And then, 2 years later, it's still close to that. That's what's happening to the WWE. They don't want to. They don't want to listen to anything. Got to do it their way, and business keeps going down and down and down.
Listen to this, Frank. This is a comment made by somebody on Twitter, and I'm not going to give his name. Respect to Cesaro for going the distance with someone much better than him.
Oh, God. See, that's the mark.
How stupid can you be?
That's the mark. That's the true mark, He went the distance. It's fucking scripted. And who's to say that Cena is better than him? It's storyline. It's kayfabe. It's character. Cena can't do 80% of the things Cesaro can do.
Oh my God! It's
Cena's best move is kicking out. No, really. That's a signature. No, that's a signature that you can't touch Cena. Cena's the hardest. Cena might be behind the Undertaker, and I don't even know about that. He's catching up real fast. Behind the Undertaker, Cena's the hardest man to pin in the history of wrestling.
And Cena doesn't belong to be mentioned in the same breath as that man. I don't give a fuck how much money he makes them. I don't give a fuck how many Make-A-Wishes he does. I don't care how many troops he visits. I don't care how many times they try to portray him as the hero. He will always, in my eyes, be the most overrated, overpushed, biggest pain in the ass of a face of the wrestling company I've ever seen in my life. I will never put him in that class of guys like.
The only credit I give Cena is.
He tries. I give him that. He tries.
When he was working almost alone, there was nobody really for him to feud. He did manage to hold the segments together. He did hold the company together for like 2-3 years. When there was really, in the Jack Swagger and Miz era, like I said before. And you can't say WWE didn't try to bring those guys back then. They obviously did,
No, they obviously did, but then all of a sudden they just gave up.
Those guys just sucked.
I'm sorry, but The Miz, Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, no. The Miz, Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Jack Swagger, garbage.
Yeah,
garbage.
I think Sheamus is pretty good, but you can't have two heroes with Cena and Sheamus.
Nope. But like you said, Frank, once you got to 2011, they had no excuse to not run with the guys that they had.
They should have pushed Punk to the moon.
They should have. They should have pushed him to the moon. But they didn't. And now and then they lost him.
After he got the pipe bomb, that's it. He went to the next level of you don't know if it's real or not, and it became must-watch TV.
And
they
what?
Ran with that, just on that storyline alone, they could have ran with that for years.
Yes, they could have. But they're idiots. And that is why. Imagine this, and I mentioned this on the show many times. Imagine if instead of Randy Orton being the Authority's puppet, it was him. And it was John Cena versus Daniel Bryan over the belt, with the Authority helping Cena. How great would that have been? And how real and how true to life would that have been? Cena's our guy. He's who we want. Daniel Bryan doesn't look like a champion, but Cena does. How?
In that match, remember when they said Vince McMahon storyline was if Cena loses against Punk, he gets fired. Remember they did that?
Yes.
When Punk threatened to walk away?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Cena was like, oh, I don't care. That's not how I do things. I want a match. They should have done a big angle where Cena should have turned heel and joined Vince McMahon and the Authority.
But then the company would have closed down, Frank. They would have lost all their business if he would have turned heel.
The moon would have fell out of the sky. Yeah, they would have. I'm serious. They would have fell to the Atlantic Ocean.
The moon.
They should have had 2 years. They could have did that. They could have ran that. That should have been the second greatest feud behind Austin and The Rock. It should have been Punk versus
Cena as a heel.
Yeah.
Well.
But anyway.
Moving on.
What's the question? Do you have any questions?
Yes, we do have one question from our own Nick Perkins. I'm actually putting it up here on the screen. I don't know if it's... hang on one second. Let me see if I can get a... So that way everyone knows I'm not bullshitting, because apparently that's what I do. Give me a moment. See if I can get this. There we go. Try to lighten the screen a little bit. From our own Nick Perkins. It's not appearing on the... I don't know if anyone could screenshot that so they could see for themselves, but the question states, why do people in this era overrate John Cena matches against better workers than himself? Yes, I would like for you to answer that, Frank, because if I answer it, we'll be here all night. So you're better off just answering it.
That's booking. When he kicks out 50 times, and he counts out, he keeps kicking out the last second, and then the other guy keeps kicking out the last second. What do you hear? This is awesome. This is is the match really good?
Not really.
Yeah.
The false finishes, people are so fooled by the false finishes and the kickouts that they automatically think that means it's a great match.
Yeah, the false finishes, whatever, the kickouts are getting so cleared out because it's destroying wrestling. It's worse than I consider doing that too much, just like doing the
finishers too much.
Put through tables. After a while, now, no matter how many finishes you give, it's not going to work.
You look at matches like The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, the Hell in a Cell match. You know how many false finishes there were in that match? None. There were no false finishes in that match. But that match will go down in history as the greatest Hell in a Cell match of all time. You had, let me see, another one. The Undertaker versus Mankind. Hell in a Cell. You know how many false finishes there were in that match? Like real close false finishes? 0.
No, I know, but the other thing is also with Cena, and Bret Hart said it a couple of weeks ago in the Sports Illustrated interview, even, I think, where his head to get John Cena is like when you hear guys call their spots out during the match.
It's not professional.
It's not professional, and it automatically qualifies that as a bad match. And you could hear John Cena call the spots from your living room. You can. He's just
so Frank, if according to Bret Hart's standards, I'm tearing up from laughing. According to Bret Hart standards, if the fans can hear you calling spots, the match is automatically bad. You know what that means? That means he hasn't had a good match.
No, yeah.
And yes, I do give credit.
He tries a new move, whenever he does try.
Oh, I give him credit for that. He does fucking try. But just
outside of the leg drop from the top rope, the other moves are shaky, like the springboard.
he's gonna hurt somebody.
He can't do it.
The Hurricane Rana is fucking atrocious. The drop kick is atrocious.
Yeah, well, but I don't know. It's just booking. That's what it is. If other matches were given the importance and the thought put into that matches, they would be great too.
Frank, I want to thank you for saying that personally, because I said this earlier.
To me, this is not a big thing. It's an obvious thing. I don't know why other people can't see it.
They can't see it because they don't want to see it, because they like the notion that Cena is the greatest of all time. That is my ultimate issue. But
that's what they want to believe. That's what they want to believe, right?
I guess ignorance is bliss. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's gonna do it for Frank and I. We really enjoy doing our show. I've been trying my best to get this to go podcast as soon as possible. It's just that with my impending wedding and everything, it's been extremely difficult on top of my job and my schooling. Frank is very understanding. We may just end up doing our regular show on YouTube and just posting it on our pages. Even the political stuff. What do you think, Frank? You think we can handle that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I can get Frank here for Battleground. That would certainly be nice. We got 2 weeks, Frank. You think maybe we could squeeze that in?
I think so.
If you want, it's up to you. We could talk to the guys. Maybe we could do another cooking fiasco. What do you think?
Okay.
Frank and I are actually pretty damn decent cooks. I have to say, Frank is really damn good when it comes to cooking, and I try my best. I haven't poisoned anyone yet, so I guess that's a good thing. But that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate the views. We appreciate the comments. Not you, Mike. Asshole. We appreciate the views. We appreciate the comments. If you have any questions whatsoever that you'd like for us to answer on the show, private message on Facebook, either myself or Frank, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. There's no limit. Ask as many questions as you want. We don't give a damn. Isn't that right, buddy?
That's cool.
All right. We're riding off into the sunset, ladies and gentlemen. You guys take care, and we will see you the week following Battleground. Take care, guys.